start, and then there'll be people. It's an open call, so people can come on. My name is Kim Bash, and I'm originally from South Africa. I've been living in Israel now for 17 years. And I actually made Aliyah from within Israel, but I came from New York. I'd been living in America for about 4 or 5 years, and I came here on a program, and then I never left, and I met my husband here. I live in the old city in Jerusalem, and we've been, as I said, very involved in the community here. We're involved in a lot of outreach, and we do big Shabbases, and we love living here. It's a very eclectic place, melting pot of all different types of people. And it's really a great place to live. I work in full-time real estate. I have been in selling real estate in Jerusalem for the last 10 years. The reason I got involved in running these community calls is because just before, COVID time, a lot of my clients and friends and family were reaching out to me and saying to me, Kim, we want to make Aliyah. We want to come to Israel, but we don't know where to go. We can't necessarily afford to live in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv or Ra'anana or Netanya or the bigger cities, or we really just want more green. We want bigger houses. We want more space. We want more community. So we started this series called Find Me a Community in Israel. And every week, we try and showcase a different community around Israel. So we've done a lot of different places, and I'm so impressed by the fact that there are so many amazing places for people to go to. And we really want to use this as a platform for people, potential olim, people looking to make Aliyah, to really see that Israel, there's a place for absolutely everybody. So that is the purpose of this phone call tonight, is to introduce the people on the ground. For those people who are thinking seriously, whether it's now, whether it's in 2 or 3 years, people are investigating, especially what's going on around the world. Israel is becoming more and more of an option for people to really think about making it their home. So that's basically what we've been doing. And I just want to say thank you so much to Shoshana, who really has been unbelievable in helping coordinate this evening's call. I had a lot of how it works, and where I choose where we're going to do a different place every week is by the demand and what people are asking me to do. So we did Efrat right in the very beginning a couple of months ago. And then a lot of people reached out to me saying, well, what about the other areas in the Gush? What about Neve Daniel? What about Gush? What about Elazar? What about Alon Shvut? So that is why tonight we're concentrating on these particular 2 yeshuvs. And also a very important thing is that we have housing opportunities, because I don't want to offer a community to people if there's really nothing really going on in the community. So both these yeshuvs have potential, have buildings, new projects happening on the yeshuvs. So there is opportunities for people. It's not necessarily right now, it's in a couple of years. And there are other opportunities and resales in these areas as well, but this is just projects, because some people are not necessarily ready to make Aliyah right now. So without further ado, thank you again, everybody, for coming on. I'm going to call on people to talk, and it's a very informal, it's an introduction about yourself, where you're from, about yourself, about the community, and why you chose to live on that yeshuv. So I'm going to start off with Shoshana.
Okay, my name is Shoshana Porat. My husband and I moved to Neve Daniel because we have family here, and there was an excellent opportunity to buy something when we came. So we figured, what the heck, we'll buy, and worst case scenario, it'll be a good investment. And the reason we stayed is because it's been a great place to raise kids. There's a lot of kids, so there's a lot of resources, and the yeshuv invests a lot in the kids. We have coordinators for teenagers. We have yeshuv committees of parents who volunteer to run programming for everyone from preschool and up. Kids walk around freely. Everyone kind of looks out for each other. There's a sense of community. And I'm going to let other people, I'll fill in the end if anything's missing. We'll let the next person talk.
Shoshana, can I ask you, so how long have you been on the yeshuv for?
Since One second, about 9 years, I think, give or take.
And your children go to school locally on the Yishuv?
I have one child in the Orot Zion Girls School, one child in the Orot Zion Boys School, which is the Mamad Torani in Neve Daniel. I have one child in Cheneria, which is the Mamad in Alon Shvut, which is another local school. We're very happy with all of them. We decided based on each kid and what they needed where the best place for them to be. I have another son who's in a special ed school in Beit Shemesh. And my kids have been through lots of ganim here between the four of them. We've experienced lots of different gananot, and for the most part, we've been very, very happy.
And how does
nothing's perfect, but we feel like, what I feel with my kids' schools, every single one, is I feel like when I feel that something is missing or needs to be improved, I feel like I have who to talk to. I feel like they listen. I feel like they do their best to accommodate. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. But I feel like things are either good or they're improving, or you figure out where the best place is for your kid if you misjudge the first time around. There's a lot of options.
Is Neve Daniel the main yishuv where the children come to school from the other surrounding?
No, there's 4 schools. There's 4 elementary schools in the Gush. There's the Mamad, and there's Reshit. Mamad is the regular regional school. They have a lower division and an upper division. The lower division is through 3rd grade. The upper division is through 8th grade and separate for boys and girls. A lot of people from Israel moved to the Gush because of the school system and because of the special ed system. So the biggest school is the Mamad, which is in Alon Shvut, but it's a regional school. No matter where you live in the Gush, you could send there and you'll get free busing there. Right next to the Mamad is another school called Reshit, which is actually a flagship school for mainstreaming. They have a program where they take special needs children, and they're very much integrated into the regular classes, and there are schools around the country that are modeled off of the school. The school in Neve Daniel, there's a boys' school and a girls' school, which is considered the Mamad Torani, and there's also a Talmud Torah for girls and a Talmud Torah for boys in Bat Ayin. And all kids from Gush Etzion are eligible to go to all of the schools and get busing to all of the schools. And if you can't, as in most places, if your child has special needs and they don't have the right class or resources for them, then they'll bus your child to wherever the best place for them is outside of the Gush.
And how far is it from Neve Daniel to Elazar?
2 minutes by car, and then a lot of people jog back and forth. There's a side road. It depends how fast you run.
So everything's very connected.
Yeah.
Great. So I think I was going to do all Neve Daniel, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go back in between the two so we can really hear what the differences are. So is it Ellie and Esther from
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Ellie.
Hi. My wife is otherwise indisposed.
No problem. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, we just had a baby a few weeks ago, so.
Mazel tov.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so where are you from?
Originally or in Israel?
Originally.
So I made Aliyah 13, 14 years ago in 2006 with my family to Elazar. I've been living in Elazar for pretty much all my life. My wife Esther my wife made Aliyah 2 years ago. I've grown up here. It's a very nice yishuv. For someone who, it was very easy for me to acclimate to Elazar and to learn Hebrew. I learned Hebrew very, very quick. Based on the youth here in Elazar.
You have friends on the other yeshuvs around?
I went to elementary school here, so I have friends in the communities around. I have a very close friend circle in Elazar. Whatchamacallit, but I went to high school a few minutes down, like 40 minutes further down south from the Gush. A lot of people that went there. I went to Susia. It was a dorm school, and a lot of people from this area went there. I also have to add on to what Shoshana said about the education systems in Israel. If I were to have continued, I'm originally from Teaneck, New Jersey, and my wife is from Englewood. If I would have continued studying, learning, in school in America, I may have fallen through the cracks, just based on the fact that what I've noticed is that in America, it's very difficult for the schools to adjust to and cater to the students' needs. And in Israel, I, got a diploma, really like succeeded, and really found my way. And the schools helped me find my way. So it's very important that people know that when they come to this area specifically, that these schools here cater to the kids' needs. That's something that I have to, build on to what Shoshana said.
Is that, do they cater particularly for the Anglo crowd?
There's a lot of help for Olim in the Gush. In Elazar, I would say in Elazar specifically, there are a lot of Anglos, a lot of English speakers, not necessarily Americans, but a lot of South Africans and people from the UK. So there's like a lot of people receive help, like a lot of assistance, a lot of from everywhere, from the community, from the schools, from the municipality. So that's very good. That's one of the things that attracted my parents to make Aliyah to Elazar and to the Gush, and that's one of the reasons I stayed in the Gush.
And what about like getting around, like locally? Do everybody on the yeshuvs have cars?
On the Shuv, there is like a bus that like goes around from in between communities. Not very much public transportation within the communities. A lot of people who live here have cars, or at least get rides. That's the whole beauty of being in in a gated community. Like, who you're getting a ride with. It's kind of like carpooling around. Like if you need to go to grocery shopping, then you have someone who's going from your area. Every block in the Sishuv has a WhatsApp group, and everyone's very communicative. And if anyone needs help, then everyone's there to help. And but a lot of people, it's necessary to have a car in this area, I believe. You can get around without a car, but it helps.
Great.
But when it comes to public transportation between the Gush and Jerusalem, then there's a lot of public transportation between the Gush and Jerusalem, like a lot of buses.
So you just go out of your yeshuv and stand on the main road, and there'll be a bus stop on the main road?
No, there are bus stops within the yeshuv, and there are bus stops outside of the yeshuv. But they're different bus numbers, but they're enough that you feel like you can get around in the center of the Gush. Neve Daniel, Elazar, Efrat, Talon Chut, all of those places all have a lot of public transportation.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm going to pass on over now to Meir Raskis. Hi, Meir.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
And you are from Neve Daniel, correct?
Correct.
Okay, tell us about yourself.
Where do you want me to start?
From the beginning.
Ooh, we don't have enough time for that. We'll start from a year ago. So we moved here 13 months ago. So, I was telling a couple people today, as you have dog years, you have Corona years. So we kind of feel like we've been here for 20 years already now, but it's only been a year. But it's been great. It's been absolutely fantastic. We were fortunate to come here with jobs. I have my U.S. job. My wife is running a business from here. in the United States. I was traveling back and forth monthly. We didn't have the biggest concern that everybody's always concerned is, what about having Amazon Prime, where you get stuff in 4 hours. So, we would have a shopping list. I would come back monthly, come back go with an empty duffel bag, come back with a full duffel bag. And then we had to become Israelis. Corona's really toughened us up. So, we're Amazon free. The kids have acclimated really well. They're already at a point where they're correcting our English, they're making fun of our American accents, and we love it. Very happy, incredibly warm community. We're currently renting right now, and it's a story in itself, but we were very fortunate to get a furnished place. And now the biggest problem we have is we're looking for a home. I hear, Kim, you know something about that, right?
Yes.
So
Okay.
we're looking for a home, and the biggest problem we have is we don't want to leave Neve Daniel, because we really don't see ourselves living really anywhere else. We couldn't be happier here. And just 2 minutes before we came on, we heard from the Prime Minister that we're going through a lockdown. Fresh off the press. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about it, but the Chagim will look very, very different than they did last year. But nevertheless, we're all in it together. And it sounds very cliche, but it's certainly true. And although nobody wants to be locked down, if we have to be locked down somewhere, this is where we want to be locked down. We're really happy.
Mayor, what made you decide on Neve Daniel?
So we spent the last 3 summers here. For family and business reasons, we weren't really able to make Aliyah till this year, or last year, I should say. But although we loved it here and always had a dream to be here, we spent the last 3 summers here. And so we had a long-term rental for like 8 to 10 weeks in the summer over the past 3 prior years before making Aliyah. And during that period, we checked out different communities. And we like to joke that if we would have spent the winters here, we probably would have wound up in Beit Shemesh. But because we spent the summers here, we wound up in Neve Daniel. So for those that don't know, Neve Daniel is one of the highest points. I think it's the second highest point in the country. We have beautiful evenings. I have my window open in front of me. You can't see it. Finally have a fresh breeze tonight. Amazing weather here. I'm coming from Baltimore, where it's 90% humidity and 95 degrees on a good day, and freezing cold on a bad day. So we really were very happy with the weather during the summer. When we got here, we had a little bit of a rude awakening for the winter. But no, when we came here, we spent a lot of Shabbatot around different places. We were in different communities, and I was at one community which will remain nameless because it's a wonderful community. It's not for us. We went to go check it out, went to go to the school, and I pulled up to one of the schools that we were going to go see, and I just didn't feel like I wanted to be in that community. And we were in Neve Daniel the Shabbat before, and it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock. It was a winter. I was here on I guess you call it a pilot trip, and it was time for mincha. I was looking for a minyan, and I looked at my watch, and I'm like, I could probably drive to Neve Daniel. Again, I don't know what to name that the community, but I could drive from that community to Neve Daniel and make it there before time for mincha. And I just got in the car, called the school that I was supposed to meet with, and said, really appreciate your time. I'm unfortunately not able to make the meeting. Drove to Neve Daniel, got to the Merkazi, the main shul, and just looked out where I was. And again, anybody who's been to Neve Daniel certainly can relate to the amazing views here and the weather. And I was warmly greeted in the Beit Knesset, and I was like, that's it. It's a no-brainer. This is where I want to be. And then we had to find a home. That's another. I don't want to take up all the time here, but that's another interesting story how we got a home. But we really fortunate. Everything really just fell into place. I mean, we were able to, initially we came for 1 year. The plan was to come. I was a little bit more on board than my wife was. I like to say that I'm the dreamer, my wife's the planner. She reminds me I could dream because she plans. So part of the dream was for us to move here. Part of the plan was to try it for a year and see how it worked. So we came here for a year. We didn't sell our house. We were going to leave it empty in Baltimore. And within 3 months, where my wife felt a lot more comfortable, where the kids began to acclimate, and she kind of felt like the unknown was behind us, she's like, okay, I'm ready. And we made Aliyah in November 23rd. So pretty quickly afterwards. And then we had our home, and we were going to go back during the summer, and we were going to sell our home. The plan was to either go back to America or to go back, pack up our house and sell. And we were incredibly fortunate where somebody gave us a very generous offer to buy our house. But we had no way of really going back for the summer. We didn't really want to come back here and be good, and didn't think it was safe to go back. So we actually did everything on Zoom and Facebook Marketplace and eBay. We sold our stuff. And we hired a couple of girls to pack everything up. I think my wife told me we had like 3,500 pictures of everything that we were drawer to drawer of our house. We packed everything up and sold our house, and so that's behind us. And now we're here looking for a home, and this is home right now.
Amazing. And are the kids in a gun?
So we have a kid who started last year in the Ma'on, which is, I guess you would say, really feeling Israeli. I don't even know how to say Ma'on in English. I think playgroup, I would say, probably playgroup. And now she's in the Gan, which is kindergarten, I guess. And then, which is like literally across the street from us. So, you know, walk out in my flip-flops and shorts and could walk across the street and walk her into Gan. And then we have a child in Orot Zion for Banim and Orot Zion for Banot. My boy is in Kita Gimel, I know this, and my girl is in Kita He in Orot Zion.
And you happy with all the schooling?
Yeah. I mean, we had our challenges. I'm not, we're not going to sit here and say it was a cakewalk the whole way through. But I will tell you is that for the most part, when there were issues, there were people to talk to. And, we kind of, I like to always, remind everybody, you attract bees with honey. So, we needed a team. We needed people on board. And we were very, I guess, patient. People like to say the Israeli way is to push and push and push. A squeaky wheel gets the grease. We really took a different approach, and we just, really enfranchised the people in the school, and they were great. Again, I'm saying this, my wife really took care of all of it, so I'm just, reporting in on it. She may have a different story, but from my vantage point, everything was great. People were very helpful, and we had, tutors, and we had people shadowing our kids, and it just, everything went really, really smooth. Again, with the hiccups, but we were able to work through them with the right attitude.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Meir. I'm going to cross over now to Devorah Quinkin. Hi, Devorah.
Hey, Kim, how you doing?
Good. We're going to Elazar now, right?
We are in Elazar, and I'm sitting outside under the beautiful stars on my balcony, and it is absolutely, thank God, the heat is broken a bit. But just to give you a little bit of extra input, I'm just looking at the questions at the bottom of the screen. The community of Elazar is such a mixture of young and old and early senior citizens and late senior citizens, and it all depends on your attitude. And for me, no matter where you go and live, if you have the right attitude, you will make it work wherever. My children actually chose Elazar for us because they had been into the Gush. I had two children who were lone soldiers, and they had friends here in the Gush. And they actually, my daughter came and looked at homes here, and she chose our house, the first house that we moved into. And we started renting, and then we moved to this house. And one night I said to my husband, I said, our whole family's in South Africa. We made Aliyah nearly 5 years ago. Our whole family's in South Africa. And I look at the people, my next door neighbor, who is 10 meters, not even from my front door. And I look and I said, these are the people I want to grow old with. These are the people that I want at my Shabbos table. These are the people that I want to socialize, that we want to sit outside and schmooze with. And we, thank God, we've just bought our home, and it was not an easy process coming from South African rands to Israeli shekels. And it has been the most exciting process for us to buy a home in Israel. And the support, we came into Elazar, and I had two school-going children. I had one he was going into grade 12, so he did a GED online. And I had a daughter who went into grade 7. And she really, really struggled with the language, with the culture. And the assistance that we got and the love that we got from the school, from the teachers, from the principals. She's in grade 12 now, and her teacher from grade 8 phoned her last week to see how she was doing.
Wow.
And that's like 4 years down the line, and this teacher still, she invested so much into my child. So we live in Elazar, and my daughter goes to school in Kiryat Arba. We have the absolute privilege of being halfway between Jerusalem and Hebron, and we have the privilege. I mean, we have family who live in Israel who don't even come to Jerusalem. They live in Tel Aviv. They just don't leave their hood. And we have the privilege. We go to Jerusalem. We're 15 minutes away from the outskirts of Jerusalem. We go to the Maharat Machpelah for Rosh Chodesh, well, before the Corona. Every Rosh Chodesh, we went there early hours, like 5 o'clock in the morning, and we davened in Sarah and Avram's area by their tombs. What an absolute privilege. I mean, the geography.
Are you listening?
Sorry?
I don't know. Somebody was, I think, just background noise. Don't worry. Carry on.
Okay. And just the privilege of living in this area, we're talking about it geographically. We can see Neve Daniel from where we are, the second highest point in Israel. It has such a completely different climate to us, and we are like 2 minutes around the corner from Neve Daniel. And for me, it's the people, because my family is in South Africa, and when you make Aliyah, you need a new family. And for me, that was one of the biggest things of what we found here in Elazar. We found a family, we found a group of friends. We definitely hang out. Majority of our friends are English speakers. There is a very, very big Anglo community in both our Yeshuvim, in both in Neve Daniel and in Elazar. And the rentals, there are houses that come up for rent. Just correct me if I'm wrong, King, but it works out about 1,000 shekels for every room. So if you've got a small 2-bedroom apartment, it will be about 2,000, 2.5, 3,000 shekels a month. And we've got a 6-bedroomed home. So it works out to about 6,500 shekels a month rent for the bigger homes. I don't know if you have any other questions to ask, but it has just been one of the most amazing experiences of our lives, just to find a new family here.
Amazing. What I wanted to ask, maybe you can touch on a little bit, Devorah, is the different like shuls and what goes on. Is there Ashkenazi, Sephardi? What is it? All different? Tell me a little bit about that.
On our Yeshuv, there are between 7 and 10 different shuls.
Wow.
And each shul has a different, there's the Ashkenazi, there's the Sephardi, there's the main shul, there's the new shul, there's the shul at the very top of the Yeshuv. There are shuls for people who want to start a little later. At the moment, because of Corona, where the guys have been davening in the street, and I call it the lazy man's minyan. I walk out of my bedroom door onto my balcony, and I'm in shul. Mm-hmm. And there has just been a sense of community. We have such a glorious street where you can go shopping on our street. You can ask someone to collect parcels for you, to bring your children home for you. If you baking at 12 o'clock at night, you put a message on our group chat, like Ellie said, and somebody is there for you no matter what. No matter what. And the davening on our street, they're busy setting it up for Rosh Hashanah now, where they've put together a team of people. They organize different teams to put up shade cloth and whose gardens the women are going to be davening in and where the men will be. So at the moment, the concept of shuls is that it depends on each person's what they would like. But there are so many different availabilities, and wherever you want to go, you'll find a shul.
Amazing. It sounds like very special. And it sounds like you came with a really positive attitude, which made it probably much easier to adjust and make the change.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so now I'm going to go to Michael from Neve Danielle. Is Michael on?
Hello,
Hi, Michael.
how are you?
Good. Thank you for coming on.
What can I tell you? My wife and I moved from Jerusalem. We both made Aliyah separately. We married in Israel. We moved from Jerusalem to Neve Daniel 24 years ago.
Wow.
We heard about the Gush from some good friends of ours who were still living in Jerusalem, and they were planning on moving to Elazar. We actually went through the whole Klita process in Elazar at the time in '96. And then there was no rentals at the time. The Gush was very small back then. And we had other friends living in Neve Daniel. She's American. I knew her from
Yes,
her
Michael.
single days, and her husband was Russian. And they were building a house and living in a caravan at the time in Neve Daniel. And they said, oh, there's 2 rentals here in Neve Daniel. Come on and take a look. So we came over, and they were in people's houses, like basement sort of rentals. And there were no caravans. People were living in them to keep their cost of living down when they were building their own places. The yeshuv was small, it was about 100 families. Elazar was very small at the time also. So we came to live in Neve Daniel because just out of necessity. And after about a month, we said to each other, I think we're staying in Neve Daniel. Elazar was wonderful too, but the reception we had here was tremendous. Just the Aknesat Orachim. And over time, we lived here for over 8 years until we built our own house. We've been in our own house for over 16 years. We raised 4 children here. Our oldest was born in Jerusalem. The rest were born out here. And my wife and I are very happy here. Our children, each one has their own opinion about Gush Etzion. But Gush Etzion in general is a superior place in Israel, I would say. Elazar, Neve Daniel, the Gush in general is a wonderful place. High quality people, good schools. Like other people have said, there's always someone to help you. There's always someone to turn to. I'm a policeman. I've been working out here. I worked in Jerusalem. I've been working in the Gush more or less for 22 years. So I see the other side of the story also. Just like anywhere else, it's a real place with its real problems. But I remember when I came out here, and there was a guy who had been here longer than I had. Back in '98, I started working out here, and he worked with the youth. And Israeli guy, didn't wear a kippah, but he was probably traditional. I said to him, I was new here, and my first kid had been born. I was wondering, how it is to raise kids out here. What are the kids like? And it's, this is many years ago. He said, halavai, that all the youth in Israel should be like the youth in Gush Etzion. So when I heard that from someone who doesn't even live out here and who isn't necessarily religious, but worked actually with the troubled youth at the time, that sort of put my mind at ease. And we're very happy here. We're very happy here. The one downside for my wife and I is it's become more suburban and less rural, but that's our own personal taste. We prefer a little less of the amenities, which is nice to have. Someone wrote something about where do you shop. I mean, we shop at the Gush Etzion Junction. There's Rami Levy there. Of course, with a larger population, you have more services and life's more convenient. On the other hand, you have traffic jams, which were non-existent 24 years ago. They're building another tunnel road, and they're widening the roads constantly. The population has boomed here. It's one of the things that I was dumbfounded about when we moved out here, '96, was why aren't more people living out here? It's next to Jerusalem, high standard of living, wonderful people, good schools, nature. What's wrong? I mean, the only thing you can think of at the time is the Arabs, but you have them everywhere in Israel. They're not necessarily any worse here than anywhere else, in my opinion.
So that's a big question, Michael, that a lot of people always ask me about the safety. So you feel it doesn't really make a difference?
Well, I mean, I'm a policeman in the field, so I don't. It doesn't bother me. I guess I'm used to it. It's what I do every day. Is deal with the Arabs. I deal with the Jews, who kids are lost or domestic dispute or car accident. Like there is anywhere in the world. All the different things. Noise complaints.
There's security on the yeshuv?
The security in these shuvs has improved tremendously over the past 24 years. I can't speak about Elazar. It's pretty good from what I gather, but I know more about Neve Daniel's security just because I live here and I would have a relationship with the security chief here, Yoel, and it's been upgraded tremendously here over the past, 7 to 10 years. They invested in technology and the fences and the sensors, and so they would even notice somebody even before they get close to the fence. They would notice them way outside the fence. The security in the Yeshuvim in general is very good, and it's improved over the years. You have the army, you have the police, and you have the security of each community, and you have inside the Yeshuvim. I would say it's extremely safe, probably safer than in other places in Israel. On the roads, I'd say the roads are crazy in Israel in general, but that's because of traffic and the way people drive.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I think we're going to ask Rochi. Hi, Rochi.
Just unmute myself. Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. And you're from Neve Daniel as well, correct?
Yes, Neve Daniel. Actually, we moved to Neve Daniel 14 years ago, and before that we lived in Alon Shvut for 8 years. We made Aliyah straight to Alon Shvut. My husband was learning in the yeshiva in Gush, in the kollel there. And at the time there were no building projects, and we found out about Neve Daniel. There was what was the new building project. It's now becoming the old new one because the new one's just started being built. And we moved here 14 years ago. In general, a lot of the Gush or the central Gush is similar. Elazar, Alon Shvut, Neve Daniel. Aside from the height of Neve Daniel, which is slightly different from Alon Shvut. I'm not going to repeat things that have been said. I'm originally from Australia. My husband's from South Africa. Neve Daniel is made up of a lot of Olim, a lot of English-speaking Olim, mainly Americans, but also Canadians, Australians, South Africans, a few British, and then the non-Anglos, like some French and Russian Olim. So it's pretty multicultural. Regarding shuls, we also have we have 6 official shuls. The main shul on the top of the hill, a Sephardi minyan, a Chabad minyan, a Karlebach style minyan, and shul, and 2 shuls on the new side. And obviously there are plenty of minyanim all day. It's not just one minyan per shul. If you want to daven early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning or later, there are all different options throughout the morning. In general, in the Gush, when we came 22 years ago, there wasn't an Olim department, and we were kind of left to fend for ourselves. That was before Nefesh B'Nefesh and any of the organizations. But since then, a lot has changed. We have a wonderful Olim department in Gush Etzion, and people who deal with Olim of different languages. Alon Shvut has a lot of Spanish speakers as well. There are Sheret Le'omi girls generally who help in the Olim departments, the different Yeshuvim. We have an Olim committee that in coronavirus times, COVID times, has been slightly different, but we try to organize every couple of months what we call Olim Cafe, an event for the Olim to get together, meet each other, learn some Israeli culture, just have a break and be able to speak English between themselves. Neve Daniel has a lot of committees. We have committees that deal with different ages. So we have older youth committee, younger youth committee, school age kids committee, a committee for young preschool kids, kindergarten, I don't know what you all call it, younger ages. We have a committee for the over 50s. There's a women's committee, a men's committee. and organizing lots of events all the time, speakers, bringing in speakers, lectures on anything from parenting to just cultural things. And everything is subsidized by the Yishuv. So most events are either free or they're very low cost. It could be 20 shekels and you can, have a whole craft evening that would normally cost you, 100 and something shekels somewhere else. Most events, aside from the Eldim ones, are in Hebrew, but obviously there are a lot of Anglos and a lot of people trying to help translate. People asked about shopping and stores. So as Shoshana mentioned in the chat, every Yishuv has at least one small makolet, like a medium-sized supermarket. Efrat has a number. And then there are bigger supermarkets in Efrat or at Rami Levi at Somet Agush. There are 2 supermarkets there, and there's a whole shopping center. Also in Kfar Etzion, which is slightly further, that's by Alon Shvut. I beg to differ, but I probably drive faster than Shoshana. But if I'm not going traffic times, it only takes me 7 minutes to get to the main shopping area. But basically, now when we came, it wasn't like that, but now you can find most things. We have a lot of restaurants for all different tastes, takeout food, clothing stores, supermarkets. I really very rarely leave the gush for things. Bike stores, shoe stores, hardware stores, everything that you need. I also wanted to add that someone asked about seniors. There are a lot of senior activities. The different Yishuvim have committees of 50 plus, and they bring lectures in and they go away for a weekend twice a year, and they have Shabbat in Neve Daniel where they get together and they bring in speakers and have the Shabbat meals together every so often. And anyone's welcome to join as little or as many times as they want. There are also in Gush Etzion, both in Efrat and Gush Etzion, the councils and the community centers have a lot of events, lectures, programming for over 50s, over 60s. And again, they also have English, Hebrew, and there's an amazing, amazing initiative that's subsidized by the government. And I don't remember what it's called exactly, but it's
coffee and suspenders.
Oh, no, coffee and suspenders is something else, and that's cultural. But I was talking about the going back to school. They offer that once or twice a week. There's a Hebrew and English program, and the over 50s or over 60s can go into the schools, the primary or secondary schools, and they can learn some of the subjects the kids learn. So they have classes like Arabic or Israeli history or like all sorts of interesting things, and it's subsidized. It's generally free. There are also a lot of chugim, extracurricular activities in Gush Etzion. Each Yishuv has ones that are brought in by the community center. Some they go by bus to the community center. A lot are now in the Yishuvim. So there are extracurricular activities from young till old, yoga, dancing, arts and crafts, pottery, robotics, all sorts of things, all different sport things. There are running groups you can join, etc. So there's really, really so much on offer all the time. And when it comes to summer as well, for the kids, even for the older youth, there are day camps, there are programs, there are courses that they can do. They can learn to be in Magen David, to be
EMT.
like an EMT. Yeah, an EMT.
Okay.
And girls, they can learn all sorts of skills and to DJ, etc. It's really amazing what's on offer. I don't know, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask.
Is there a swimming pool?
There is a swimming pool by Alon Shvut. Outside Alon Shvut is the area. It's not inside Alon Shvut. It's called Alon Shvut, but outside Alon Shvut is the area where a bunch of the schools are, as well as the council, the community center. There's a pool there. At this stage, it's only an indoor pool, but they actually started a few months ago doing a whole, it hasn't been renovated for years. So they're doing a big renovation that's supposed to take 1.5 years. And then it'll be all redone. And they're supposed to have a roof that'll come off in the summer, etc. And in Efrat, they're also working on building a whole big pool and exercise center. There are also Gush Etzion Efrat. There are gyms and exercise centers, and there's spinning. There's, you know, there's exercises and classes for all sorts and all ages.
Amazing. And do you, your children, you have children on the Yishuv that go to school as well?
My youngest is 9. Technically in the Yishuv, aside from now, in the last couple of years, they brought the Orad Etzion primary school that just has a few grades at the moment, and that's just at the entrance to Neve Daniel. But before that, we only had, we had the preschool. There are creches, as in young childcare options, and then the preschool kindergartens up to pre-first grade. My youngest is in 4th grade. She learns by Alon Shvut. We could have chosen to have, choose to have her in Neve Daniel, but we're happy with the school by Alon Shvut, so she has buses daily. We have a son also in the boys' school who's 12, and I have 2 kids in high school. My daughter learns in Rosh Tzurim, which is just past Alon Shvut, and my son in Efrat. We're very happy with their schools, and obviously they have local buses. We don't have to worry about any transport, and it's all very close. And my oldest is now in the army.
Wow.
Well, if I could just jump in for a second, just wanted to add in, hot off the press, there's going to be a new spin studio here in Neve Daniel. And I got to put a plug in for my wife who joined, Sarah, who's actually a certified kickbox instructor.
Wow.
Who gives kickbox classes on the Yishuv as well. So I just wanted to throw in a shameless plug if I can.
Well, great to hear. We had a spinning studio and it left and moved to Efrat a year ago, but glad to hear
Right.
we're getting one back again.
One going to be opening up really soon.
So there's one main community center in Neve Daniel.
No, the main community center, the council and the community center are by Alon Shvut in the central area where the schools are, and they cater for all of Gush Etzion. Efrat has its own separate municipal council and their community center. Although in Efrat there is also, like, their community center, we can use their services, their gyms, go to their extracurricular activities as well. But the council sends in a lot of the extracurricular activities and programming into each of the various different yeshuvim.
Thank you so much. Ellie is on the call now, right? Ellie, sorry, Esther.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Ellie's wife.
We did a little,
Hi. Okay, go. Oh, you swapped over. Okay, great.
Races with the baby today, so.
No
Hi.
problem. Thank you for coming on. Mazel tov.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear
Okay,
you.
awesome.
So how do you enjoy living in Elazar?
I really like it. We were living in Efrat for about 6 months after we got married. And then we moved here last year, and last August, and we just renewed our lease again for for the upcoming year. So we're going to be here for the next year. And after that, we'll see. But for now, it's really good. Doing good things for us. So we're happy here.
And your husband had family was all living there already, so it was probably an easy transition.
Yes, definitely. When we had moved, last August, we moved down the block from his parents. So thank God they're able to, be around and help us. And he's very close with his family. So that's also definitely a positive. And now also with the baby, it's good to have them close. So.
And have you made friends yourself?
For me, it's a little more difficult in the Yishuv, but I find that it's sort of the same thing with young couples everywhere. Like, I talk to my friends who are living in New York City or who live in Teaneck, New Jersey, or, wherever they are. It's the kind of thing where, like, you have to be putting yourself out there, be going to different, go to shul, go to different events, whatever's being held. And that's how you make friends. So mostly we haven't been doing that, to be honest. But I came with some friends, from the States, and also, like, from work, you have sort of your social groups from there. Honestly, before maternity leave, I was spending most of my time was at work, either commuting or being there. I worked in Jerusalem. I still work there, but
What do you do, Ellie? I mean, Esther, sorry. What do you do?
it's all good. I work at, I know the name. I work at Yad Vashem. I work in their international relations divisions, and I work with overseas donors from English-speaking countries that aren't the United States. So if anyone is, I know we're in South Africa right now, right? So if people have gotten emails
No,
from Yad
we're in
Vashem-
Israel, but I'm South African, but we're in Israel.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Israel, sorry, I'm in Israel.
Yeah. If there are people tuning in from South Africa or wherever it is, and you've gotten emails from Yad Vashem, that would be from my office. So it's pretty good. I've been there a couple months, and I enjoy it.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And is Ruti on the phone, on the call?
No,
She's
No.
gone off? Okay, great. Okay. So I wanted to introduce you to one of our partners, Rafi Shulman from Olim Advisors, who really, if you, those are coming on the call who haven't heard about the organization, you cannot make Aliyah without Olim Advisors. So I want to just pass on to Rafi to say a few words.
Thank you, Kim, and hi, everyone. So Kim and I met probably about 6 months ago, and we realized right away that we have a common desire, a common passion to help people make Aliyah. Just to give you my quick personal background, I actually made Aliyah twice. I made Aliyah from South Africa back in 1977. We moved to outside of Netanya. Then we moved to America, and I lived there for many years, and then came back with my family, my wife and kids, and now we live in Hashmonaim. And when we came back, the whole Aliyah experience was very challenging for me and for my wife. Even though I speak Hebrew fluently, and I grew up in Israel and I have a little bit of the Israeli chutzpah, it still was very challenging. And so I sat down with my sister, who lives here in Hashmonaim as well, back in 2016, and said, let's figure out how we can help people. And so we met with Nefesh B'Nefesh, and we talked to them about the idea of really helping people who have been dreaming about making Aliyah, thinking about making Aliyah for a long time, but don't quite know where to begin. They don't quite know which communities are good for them. They don't quite know which schools are good for them. And so we started helping people, and Baruch Hashem, over the past 4 years, we've helped thousands of people make Aliyah. And really, I guess the main difference between what we do in Nefesh B'Nefesh is that Nefesh B'Nefesh is a phenomenal organization that will help you go through the bureaucracy, help you go through and handle the paperwork. But where we step in is, in essence, when you have to deal with the practical challenges. So we talked about some of the big decisions that people have to make before they make Aliyah. Typically, we start working with people 6 months to a year before they make Aliyah. And like I said, we help them find communities if they want to come on a pilot trip, which now is challenging, but beforehand, we would plan it for them. And then when they get here, that's when the fun begins. That's when you have to go to the bank to open up a bank account and go to Misrad HaKlita, Misrad Apnim. You have to set up your internet and deal with Bezek and Hot and all those good stuff. And so that's really where we help them physically. So we'll go with them to the bank, we'll go with them to Misrad HaKlita, we'll go with them to the appointments. And then on a day-to-day basis, there's challenges that we all face, from a letter from the bank to the WhatsApp messages from the teachers to everything in between. And the whole goal of what we do is really to transform the Aliyah experience from an overwhelming, stressful experience to more of a manageable experience. And then, of course, once people get here, it's just for them, for the parents, for the kids, it's just a world of difference. And so what I always find interesting when I join the weekly Zoom calls that Kim does with some of the small communities is that we tell people that they shouldn't just think about Ramat Bet Shemesh and Modi'in and Bet Shemesh and Yerushalayim. There's a lot of wonderful communities around the country that maybe they haven't heard of before, maybe they should consider. And so for me, it's wonderful being exposed to these different communities, and we very often work with the different Olim coordinators in the communities to help them. And so I just wanted to get on here and really just say hi and wish everybody a lot of success. For me, it's very inspiring to see how people are really giving up their lives and making the sacrifice, making the commitment to move to Israel. And if there's anything that we can do to help with that, we would be more than happy to do so. So I'll put my contact information in the chat. We have a very kind of useful pre-Aliyah checklists on a website that people can just download. And what I tell people is, even if you're not thinking about making Aliyah in the immediate future, if it's something that you've been dreaming about and maybe in a year, 2 years down the road, just reach out to us. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can figure out kind of how to create a game plan for you, kind of a plan of action. And then Bezat Hashem, over time you'll go through the process, and sooner than later you'll be here in Israel. So, I just want to, wish everybody here Shana Tova, and, a happy, a healthy year. And again, if there's anything that I can do, please just feel free to reach out, and I'd be more than happy to help you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rafi. I wish when I had made Aliyah that you guys were around, because I remember going into some of these, like, oh my goodness, B'tuach Leumi and all these places, and going there 3 times because I had no idea what I was doing, and crying and being, help me, I don't know what was going on here, and phoning to set up my basic phone line. And anyway, so it's really good to know that there's an amazing support system, because not everybody has a cousin or a family, any kind of family member here, or a friend that's willing to take the time to help navigate the system in the beginning. It's very overwhelming. So Olim Advisors, check them out. They really are awesome. Kobe, who's been on waiting so patiently, what I wanted to do was, and Shoshana so kindly, because I'm not familiar, as I said, with the real estate options in these yeshuvs, did some research and introduced me to Kobe, who has a project that he is basically selling on Elazar. We're going to cover Neve Daniel as well, but I just want to say, Kobe, thank you for being so patient and coming on. And Rafi's got the link to the website of the project. Rafi, I don't know if you want to share it on your screen.
You just have to give me permission to share. That's if you can just set that up for me.
Hold on a second. Share screen. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Is it working? Hold on. Rafi, are you on?
I'm here.
Can you, oh, I don't know. What am I doing wrong here? Hold on a second. Okay, share screen. Hold on. I don't know why it's not working. Hold on a second.
Kim, you know what I'll do? I'll log out and I'll log right back in. It could be that they count that I'm in. So give me a second here.
Okay.
And, if Kobe can start it, and I'll just join in the middle.
Sure. Kobe, do you want to just tell us a little bit about the project?
Okay, good evening and Shana Tova to everybody. Our project is, let's say the definition of this project is like a terrace building. We have 4 rooms, an apartment of 4 rooms and a balcony, 5 rooms and balcony. Also 5 rooms with garden. And also we have penthouse in each building, amazing penthouse with amazing view all over the Gush. And generally, I think even what is the advantage of this project, that it's fit to any small family, big family, you can find all kind. Besides the project, in addition to the project, there is going to build a huge park with facilities for kids, young kids. And I'll be happy if people will join to have a tour and see the project. Generally, we will finish this project December 21. And as I said, everybody can find something that can fit in.
And Kobe, I don't know what's going on. Are you able to share, Rafi, or not yet?
No, I don't see Rafi right.
Okay, hold on. You know, we'll just carry on. It's okay. So, Kobe, can you tell us a little bit about the prices on the project? What's available, starting from the least expensive to the most expensive?
The process is that in the beginning you sign just what we call חוזה ראשוני, which you can just keep for yourself an apartment. It doesn't mean, and you have 1 month to decide if you're buying or not. You just put a down payment of 15,000 shekel. And if you decide not to buy, so you get all the 15. We don't have kind of knas or something that we can take because you didn't buy. And after after 1 month, when you decide that you are buying the house, so you're signing on the full contract. And after that, there is a list what you're paying. And there is also what we call Vadat Klita in the Ishuv. And that's it. Not very complicated.
And
For
the
sure,
building-
beside that, for sure, I can help. I helping to the buyers out the process how to take a mortgage, how much they need to take a mortgage, and I don't for sure I'm doing that for free.
And the price range, people are asking, what kind of prices are we looking at? Let's say for a 3-bedroom apartment.
We don't have 3 bedrooms. Let's you mean 4 rooms, what we
4
call
rooms, yes. Sorry, in Israel it's done by rooms. So a
So
4-room
four
means a 3
starts
bedroom.
from the prices for 4 rooms start with 1,400,000. I mean 1,400,000 shekel, and it's and after that, this is the cheapest apartment. It's 1.8 meter with balcony. I mean sukkah balcony. And after that, the expensive one, the expensive with garden is 130 meter. Is now you can see the list. It's we were talking.
It's
like,
in Hebrew, but it's okay. We can figure it out.
Yeah, apartment 1 or 2 with a huge garden, 15 meter, 5 rooms. By the way, apartment 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 and also 5 and 6 can be expanded to 6 rooms. If you give up about the mahsan is touching the apartment. And people who bought this kind of apartment just decide after they get in just to break and make a door to the storeroom and make it a room.
Okay. Do you want to go up onto the next page, Rafi? Can you go down? Okay, these are what's renderings of what they hope that the place will look like, the apartments. So just to recap, what Kobe's saying is that there's a lot of different opportunities. The project, if I'm not mistaken, Kobe, is about 1.5 years away from completion. Is that correct?
Yeah, even less. Let's say 1 year and 4 months.
Some people are asking, is there any available like 2-family houses, more like cottages? Do you have any cottages, like with a garden, like duplex?
We have the penthouse. All the generally is all the apartments are in one level. Even the penthouse, which I think it's one of the beautiful penthouse that I saw in Israel. All of it is 200 meters on one level. And there is a huge balcony that you have that cover all the gush with the view.
Beautiful.
all over.
And so right now, in summary, you put down a deposit of between 7% or more than that?
I'm sorry again?
How much money do you put down in the beginning on the project?
It's about
10%?
between 50 to 20,000 shekel.
Okay. And then as the building progresses,
it's for 1 month. If you decide, you have 1 month to decide if you're buying or not. And if you decide not to buy, you get all your money back.
okay. So somebody's asking about a payment schedule, and I don't want to keep anybody too long on the call, but usually what happens in any of these projects is that there's a payment schedule, and that goes according to the progress of the building. So in the first payment, you put down X. Then 6 months later or 3 months later, as construction happens, you put down more money. And the last payment is generally when you're going to get your keys for the apartment. So it gives people who don't necessarily have the bulk sum up front an opportunity to pay it over the course of 12 to 16 months before completion. So another thing I want to just bring up here is somebody mentioned to me earlier is that the Yishuv, you take like a registration fee. Is that correct? You have to put down either 50 or 60,000 shekels to be a member. Is that correct? Something along those lines?
No, in Elazar, you pay 66,000 shekel.
And that's to become like a member?
Yeah.
And is there an interview process? Like who interviews, or can anybody come onto the Yishuv?
What I said before, there is a Vadat Klita.
Oh, a committee. Sorry, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Shoshana, maybe you can add in that a little bit and tell us how that works.
So I know that for Neve Daniel, I just asked this morning, and I was told that specifically for the new project in Neve Daniel, it used to be a very long process, and you had to do like I don't know what it's called, not a psychiatric assessment, but one of those, I don't even know what it's called, the test where they ask all these questions and they interview like not the issue, but an objective third party and see if you're compatible, etc. What I heard this morning is that for the new project in Neve Daniel, they're waiving that, and it's just like a very simple interview. And the yeshuvim are like regular Dati Leumi yeshuvim. There's no cars on Shabbat. All the schools in the area are religious schools with a wide spectrum. So for the most part, people should know what they're buying into, and should realize that their expectations of expecting the general environment or whatever. But other than that, I don't, unless there's somebody has something very off with them, I don't think that they're very, very strict in terms of who they take or don't take for the new project.
I think it makes
the
sense.
Yeshuvim used to be much smaller, and now they're getting much bigger. So it's a different kind of feel. I think that people should definitely ask around and make sure that they're comfortable with where they're buying, which I think is obvious. But if people feel like this is the right place for them, it would be unlikely that it wouldn't be, reciprocal.
Great. So Kobe, I can also share Kobe's information, and I have floor plans that Kobe has sent me depending on one's budget. We can sit down with anybody interested in Elazar and talk about the different opportunities that are available in this particular project. This is a project that we're selling. There are homes that do come available for renting and buying as well, but it's a small place, so they are very few and far between. It does come on the market, but not a lot. There's not a huge inventory because they're small, these yeshuvs. So Kobe, thank you so much. I will put people in touch with you directly, or we can always do a one-on-one, a conference call as well with people that are interested. So thank you so much. It's a beautiful project.
Can I just add something? Someone
Yes.
asked about a few questions that I noticed in the group chat. Someone was asking about the membership fee. People should take note that the membership fees that you're paying generally also cover the shuls. So whereas in Chutz La'aretz you pay a very, very high fee to be a member of a shul every year and to buy a seat, especially for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, once you own a house and you've paid your entrance fee into the shul, that's for building all sorts of extra things like the shul and the extra services and things you get. So then after that, you don't pay any fee ever to be in a shul. If you rent in the yeshuvim, in Neve Daniel, I think it's 45 or 50 shekels a month for renters, which goes towards upkeep of the shul, but that's all you pay and you never have to pay these huge yearly fees. And seats also, I don't know about other yeshuvim, but in Neve Daniel, there are no set seats. So if you want to come and get whatever you consider the best seat, you only have to be there early when the minyan starts, you know, on Rosh Hashanah, and you can, you know, choose your seat. Obviously, there's preference given to people who have special needs or older people who might need a table, etc. But in general, you know, it's open to everybody. Someone also asked about a hospital. There are no plans to build hospitals in Gush Etzion. The nearest hospitals are 25 minutes away to Jerusalem, but that's, I mean, it's the same, Modi'in, etc. There aren't hospitals either, just in the main cities. But we do have all the Kupat Cholim, all the
health providers.
All the health providers, and obviously in Israel, it's not like it is in many other countries that you pay a fortune. It's very, very cheap to have healthcare in Israel because it all comes from the government, and you only pay excess amounts and, you know, under 100 shekels per adult to be part of the healthcare system. So in the Gush, there are lots of medical centers, private medical centers that take people through your medical system, or different medical centers related to all the different health providers. And as I think Shoshana wrote as well, we also have an emergency clinic. So for after hours in the Gush, you can also go to the emergency clinics. And one other thing that I just thought of when when the Aliyah advisor was talking, obviously for big things, you know, you need extra help. But a lot of the communities in the Gush really become your second family. And the fact that there are a lot of Olim, I believe that it's good to try and integrate with the Israelis as well. And they can also help, they're also happy to help and be like family. But because there are a lot of Olim who've gone through this themselves, when someone makes Aliyah, you really have a everyone becomes a family. And when you have Yom Ha'atzmaut and you have Chagim and you know, there are a whole lot of people without their family and their relatives, the neighbors and the community around really, really become the family. And there are a lot of initiatives for organizing adoptive families, to organize meals. And whenever if someone gives birth or someone needs help, or La Aleinu, someone is sitting Shiva, there are meals organized and home help and everything. So really, really, it's amazing to live in these communities.
Amazing. Really.
So I also want to add, I admit that I have like not personal interest, but professional interest in this. One of the reasons I organize this call is because I work in the Olim department of the Gush, and we have a staff of about 4 or 5 people whose jobs are to help Olim, both on individual level, and as we see, there are groups of people who need similar things. And part of our job is that from the time people are looking to move into the area and want more information, or to be connected to other people that can give them more of an inside scoop, we connect them. Before they come, we, you know, alert the people on the ground that they're coming. You know, the families that came this summer to the Yeshuvim were ready to welcome them, especially when they were going straight into isolation for 2 weeks, and they had meal plans ready and other things that they needed. And then once they come, you know, one of their first stops is to our office, and we help them register their kids to school and understand how to go about opening up a bank account, all the first steps. We're nefesh b'nefesh, you know, staff, we kind of take over. And so anyone who's seriously interested in finding out more about the area, it should really feel free to reach out to me. I'm gonna write my email and phone number in the chat.
Which is, I just want to add, Shoshana, it's very unusual that you have it's an amazing, you know, setup that you guys have. And I think it's very special that you have such a support system, because it's not, I've been doing these calls for a long time now, and it's a very unusual thing. And it makes it very unique.
Like Ruki said, the communities here are very
I
community
can tell.
oriented, and there's a very nice relationship between the community's like internal structure and with the council in general, and there's a lot of communication back and forth. And part of our job as the Olim coordinators is to be in touch with all the different resources, both official and non-official, and help people, you know, access all the different resources that we have.
Very special. Amazing. Really amazing. Kobe, thank you so much. A lot of people are asking me questions about the project. So you and I will be in touch, and I'm going to send the people directly to you. Unfortunately, the people for Neve Daniel, about 5 minutes before the call, told me they were unable to come on the call. So I'm going to be doing the presentation, which I didn't know I was doing. So please bear with me. They gave me all the information. Neve Daniel, the project is not nearly as advanced stages as the one in Elazar. It's about 3 years away. That's what you do need to know. Also, what I need people to understand is that a lot of the next generation, people who've been on these yeshuvs for a long time, really have got first rights to these projects, because a lot of people, a lot of children, grandchildren want to stay on the yeshuv. So some of these projects, which I'm showing you now, Rafi, if we can just stop on that screen, some of this has already been sold, and they haven't even got all their permits yet, which is incredible. So this project in Neve Daniel, just all of these are just extensions of the existing yeshuv. This is land that they're developing now. So you'll see where you see the red and the yellow and the, I think it's green, and the dark blue or purple, I can't see on the screen here what color that is. They have got 14 different new buildings going up in Neve Daniel. And each building has different opportunities, whether it's a cottage, whether it's a penthouse, whether it's a regular apartment. So there's a lot of different types of opportunities here, and out of 164 units they have already sold 60, which is unbelievable. So it's definitely like Elazar as well, they've sold as well quite a few, is that these are really in high demand. So it's not something you want to wait for until the end of the project. And also you get more, as I say, bang for your buck when you buy pre-construction, you know, because once they're sold and built in real estate, the prices go up. Okay, so he gave me, the gentleman I was dealing with, just a general, and I will be in touch. Anybody's interested, I will put you in touch, not a problem. You're looking at a 3-bedroom, similar prices to Elazar, 1.45 million shekels. This is a type of buildings, they've got all different types. Very modern, very elegant. There's going to be Shabbat terraces, and if people don't have Shabbat, there'll be areas, Shabbat sukkah balconies, there'll be areas outside for the community sukkahs. Beautiful, modern, elegant design. What else did he say? And then you've got 4 bedrooms, you've got 5 bedrooms. An average size apartment is about 114 square meters up until 180. So anything, and also again, like in Elazar, you can combine units. And these are the stages where you want to get in now, where you secure the properties. Sometimes now I'm dealing with families who want to come together, brothers, sisters, cousins, mothers, fathers, all coming together. They all want to buy in the same area. So these are the kind of opportunities that you want to think about. In-laws coming together, you know, somebody wants a garden apartment and they want the flat next door so that the in-laws can have a place to come to as well. So these are the types of opportunities that exist. I would really strongly suggest, if people are interested, is to make inquiries now and see what is available. So again, this is about 3 years away, and they're in their final stage of getting their permits. So again, like in Elazar is more advanced. It's will be completed in less than 16 months, you said, Kobe. And this is much more further down the line. And what else can I tell you? That's basically it. And again, I will be happy to share any information about both these amazing projects. And
may I add something?
Sure.
you mentioned something so beautiful, both in Neve Daniel and in Elazar, that the children are looking to buy. And for me, that is one of the biggest credits to both our communities, is that the children get married and they don't leave. They don't want to leave. They want to remain in the community. They want to strengthen the communities. And I think that is such a big testament to both our Yeshuvim.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, it's very, very special. I'm so impressed. Even Efrat was special, Neve Daniel special, Elazar special. I'm sure Alon Shvut, which we didn't get to cover. There's so many requests coming in every week. I'm like, oh my goodness. So next week we're having a break because of the Hagim, and then we're going to reassess. I think we're going to do Ashkelon. I'm not sure what we're going to do. We'll see what happens. But I wanted to open up. First of all, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Shoshana, you're a darling. Thank you so much for organizing. And to everybody who's come on the call tonight, just for sharing your story with us, and for making even me think, oh my goodness, what am I doing in the old city? I better come and check this out. But I always joke with people, I like concrete. Anyway, I like the city life. So, but it really sounds like a special, special place, both places. And I want to open up for questions before we end off the call. So anybody who wants to unmute themselves, please do. We're going on to nearly 1.5 hours. So we're probably going to end off very soon because everybody has other things to do, but I so appreciate everybody's time. So we're going to open for questions. Anybody want to ask anything?
Do either of the projects have swimming pools or sports complexes in them?
I don't believe so. It's part of the existing yeshuvs. So as I think somebody mentioned, Rochi, that at the Gush Junction, wherever it is, there's a main community center that has a sports center and a community center that offers all different, there's a pool that's going through a renovation right now.
What do you mean by sports center? There is only one pool in Gush Etzion, and they're building another one in front. What do you mean by sports center?
A gym? Is there a gym?
In Neve Daniel, we have an outdoor basketball court. Together with the new project, they're building an indoor basketball court, indoor sports hall. And then obviously, as you heard, we're getting we had a spinning center, we're getting another one, and then different Yeshuvim in Elazar, there's a CrossFit, which is a fitness center with machines and running and whatever. So each of the Yeshuvim do have various things, but the pool is only near Alon Shvut, and as I said, one that's being built in Efrat.
I'm not sure I asked the question, but just that you do know there are some private homes that do have private pools as well. And I can put you in touch with the real estate agents who have connected within those areas if anybody's interested in a private freestanding home or a cottage as well.
Oh, and a pool in Elazar and in Neve Daniel, that's correct. There are private pools that people can rent, you know, for 2 hours for a family to come in the summertime, etc.
Anybody else? So I just would like to tell everybody this has been recorded. We have a YouTube channel called Kim Bash Real Estate, and it's called Farm Near Community in Israel. So if anybody did not, couldn't attend tonight, you've got friends that would be interested, please contact me and I will send you the link. And our whole focus is that, again, I'll mention it just because we're ending off, is that it's not about, for me, in terms of real estate, it's not about finding you a house. It's finding you a community which becomes your home. And if those of you are thinking of Aliyah or securing a home in Israel, then, there's so much that goes into it, but it really is all about the community. And that is how you will integrate and make your Aliyah successful, is if you have a team and a support of like-minded people where you feel comfortable. So I thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for coming on again. It's been such a beautiful experience getting to know everybody. And Shana Tova, and my blessing and bracha to everybody is next year in Israel.
Amen. Amen. Shana Tova.
Thank you so much, everybody, and keep in touch and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Kim.
Good night. Sleep well. Well, good night from Israel. I'm staying on if anybody wants to schmooze for a little bit longer. Devora, I didn't realize you're from South Africa.
How are you doing?
Hi, David. How you doing?
Hi.
Oh my goodness gracious, Kim.
Huh?
How you doing, David?
Hi.
We're a small crowd tonight. Usually we get a lot more people, but I always say it's the quality and not the quantity of people coming on. And I think that people are really trying to zone in of where they want to go. And really, it's been, I love these calls because I learn about all these amazing places that I had no idea even existed. So I have such great friends that live in Neve Daniel as well.
Shoshana, do you know Lori Sloman?
Yeah, I don't want to write on the public chat. Yeah, no, all the people you mentioned I know, and there's
She's amazing. She made Aliyah from Silver Spring, and she was such a good friend of mine. She was just amazing. And then a couple years ago, we were in Debbie Kodish's house, and she works with Rabbi Edelstein with a program that he does. And I know that she made Aliyah from Philly. She works with, like I said, a program, more. And she's amazing too. And I had never been to Neve Daniel, but when I was in her house and looked out over the back of her house, I said, oh, we have to be here. And my husband never had been to the Gush even. But when I went there, I said, this is where we have to move to. So I get to, we retire at age 62. So I have a couple more years. And we have to get to Israel. And now with Corona, it's very difficult.
Pauline, get those papers in. Start going, come on.
And my niece actually works for Nefesh B'Nefesh.
So you've got no excuse. No excuse. Forget the retirement. Come on.
And
I want to say something else that's special about this area, besides the people, which I'm a little subjective, but I agree they're amazing. But Pauline mentioned the view. So for people that have never been here in Neve Daniel, the Gush in general, as in we're in the mountains. That's we say Yerushalayim Harim Saviva. We're in the mountains that surround Jerusalem, and Neve Daniel is the highest one, and we can look all the way out to Aza and the sea. But something that I feel is extra special here is that it sounds funny because every place in Israel there is history, but in Gush Etzion is one of the places where there is like an extra amount of layers of history. Like in our backyard of the Yishuv, we have a road that's called Derech Havot, where they found a mikvah and they said all the people coming to Jerusalem for Aliyah L'Rega for the Chagim. So that was one of the main roads. So they had a mikvah there for people to beat the crowds in Jerusalem. They would use the mikvah on the way. And there's also a lot of more recent history from 1948 and 1967. And our kids, every time we want to do something local, they roll their eyes because they know all the stories from school, and the schools are very, very much into, like making them proud of their local heritage and learning the story. So they go on the same tulim year after year, and they roll their eyes about it. But then when guests come, like there are tour guides, and they show them, and this is the mikvah, and this is the Roman milestone, and this is where Abraham may have walked, and this is, and they tell you the stories, and you see that it's a part of them. Our kids have their, when they finish Sefer Bereshit in school, they make their siyum in Ma'arat HaMachpelah. And the first time I cried, and I said, by the fourth time I won't be crying, and I cry every time. But it's very, very special. Sounds cliche,
Wow.
but it's really true.
Amazing.
Can I jump in?
Hi, David. Hi.
I gotta say, Kim, this is my first time joining a session like this. It was an unbelievable pleasure.
It's a pleasure. We're so excited. We love doing this. And I love seeing the same people on each week as well. We have our own little community going on here, so it's great. I didn't introduce you, Dev. I'm so sorry. Deborah is part of Kim Bash Real Estate, and she is my business development person, and she is amazing and awesome. And she basically finds projects for us to work on, to introduce to the different people looking to make Aliyah, and helps me expand and grow and hopefully offer more amazing communities to the Olim. So, hi Deb.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's so exciting to see everybody, and everyone's so passionate about this community. It's amazing. Obviously, you're very blessed to live here, and you can see it, and everybody who's here is like glowing and really very heartfelt. But yeah, you should just, every day is a blessing, and we should all find our community and our homes in Eretz Israel.
And Deborah and I actually just had an amazing meeting last week with a gentleman who's looking to bring the Syrian community over. It's just incredible. I mean, people are looking for land to buy, and he's doing an eco village, and it's just so much going on in this country. It's just unbelievable. There's absolutely no excuse for people not to come. So we're also trying to figure out, trying to help people with jobs and networking, and I think everybody, we all here, I say I've traveled all around the world and been to different places, and every time I leave Israel, but it's when I come back that I realize that being amongst your own people, it really is home. There's nothing like it. So, it's especially what's going on in the world. I'm really a firm believer. Not everybody likes it when I say this, but I'm okay to say it out loud. I very much believe that Hashem is closing down the diaspora, and he's waving and he's saying, hello, come home, and I feel it's my responsibility, like many people who are helping Olim come, is that we have to basically make Israel, as I said before, make it accessible for you. That's why we're doing these Zoom calls, for people to feel that there is a place for them to come to, and give them as much support as we possibly can. So every change is difficult. My parents, who this whole series is dedicated in their memory, came and made Aliyah in their 70s. So if they can change their lives, anybody can do it. It's hard and it's not easy, but it's the right thing to do.
This is a great program, Kim. Thank you very much. I have only one concern. I knew that we would really have to learn Ivrit when we make Aliyah, but now I'm saying
I don't speak any Hebrew.
We also have to learn South African. So we have to learn.
Let me just tell you, unfortunately, it's very embarrassing. Charles, sorry, we cut you off. We're going to come back to you. But I don't speak Hebrew. I'm serious. I don't. Shalom manishma. How are you? That's what I say. And Deborah will tell you as well. I take a translator when I go to the school meetings with my children. I live in the old city. I work in English. I was pregnant during Olpan. And spent most of my time throwing up in the bathroom. I never went back to Olpan. So I got very lazy. But I can tell you now, you have to invest. Do it online, do a program. There's so many resources available, and you should just put as much, because it's something that it's not good that I don't speak the language. It really is. I still don't understand. Tomorrow I have a meeting with my accountant, and I take all my bills with me, and I'm like, Ellie, what does this mean? Help, I don't know what I'm supposed to be paying here. So you have to have a team of people that you work with, and Google Translate is my best friend. So that's what I'm on all the time. When I've got all my kids are fluent in Hebrew. They speak English in the house, and they speak Hebrew in, they were born here. But I'm language challenged, but I actually am just very lazy as well, to be honest with you. But I think that it's imperative that you get on, there's so many programs that you can do online. And I think that, but I'm also a firm believer as well. So I don't think when you're making Aliyah, especially at a certain age, if you're not coming with children necessarily, that you should integrate into an Israeli society. Like, it's too different, and that's okay. We have to accept that it's not, that's why I'm not into like fully integration. You need to have the Israelis, and you're friends with everybody, and everybody's the same. But at the same time, you need people that speak the same language. And I'm not just talking about the language. I'm saying understand the mentality, because it's different here. And it's different doesn't mean bad. It just means that it's different. So we also have to accept that. And I mean, I live in the old city. We have everybody here. But my friends joke with me all the time that I don't, Kim, when are you going to speak Hebrew? You've been here 16 years. And I joke, I get into a taxi, a taxi, and they'll say to me, oh, shalom, manishma, mazel tov, you just made aliyah. When did you come? I go, not so long ago. Not so long ago. They're mazel tov, mazel. I'm like, that's fine. I'm okay with it. So, you know, you do what you can. But I think that soft landing communities are important in the beginning. And it really depends on what stage you are in your life. But it's hard. It's hard. Sorry, Charles.
Yes. Does anybody know when the 14-day quarantine might be, where the government might be lifting that 14-day? Because we'd like to do a pilot trip. We were there back in February and checked out different areas. But we like what we hear about the Gush. So we would like on our next trip, before we make our pull the trigger on Aliyah, to check it out first one more time. So any word on when the government?
Unfortunately, Israel's numbers are very high right now. So we're going into a nationwide lockdown, I think coming from Friday.
But that's just for the holidays because there's so many people getting together. But
I honestly don't know. I know that there's been, as you know, I've got clients that have flown in to buy real estate, but they've got lone soldiers, they've had grandchildren that get special permission to come in. So it's not so easy to get in right now. But I'm going to challenge you, Charles. I don't think you need to do a pilot trip.
We also have a dog.
You got a dog? You can bring the dog. I can get you. There's a place called, I think it's Terminal for Pets or something. I sent 2 cats back to South Africa, Israeli cats that were from the old city of Jerusalem are now living in South Africa because when my parents passed away, they had 2 cats. And the cat, my husband's very allergic, so I had to send them to South Africa. So you can bring the cats, you can bring the dogs. I'll help you organize everything. I'll help you find a rental. I'll help you organize. Forget the pilot trip.
we'll have to see. We're working on it.
We can have a one-on-one after this, okay? I'll convince you. Forget the pilot trip. You don't have time. Put the house on the market, pack up the house, get out of
We're
there.
really working on it. Very, very.
1 box a day.
1 box a day. We're
Good.
packing.
And get rid of the things you don't need. Just get rid of the stuff you don't need.
I'm doing that too.
You don't need the
Anybody want to buy
furniture. We have IKEA. It's okay. Bring what you need. That's it.
Yeah.
Bring what you
Absolutely.
need. So
Thank you.
it's
We
a
enjoyed these.
pleasure.
We've been on 2 or 3 of these Zoom meetings already.
Where else are you, if it's okay to say, but where else are you thinking about?
We're looking at Ramat Beit Shemesh. We looked at Harish, Carmiel. Carmiel is a little too far north for us, though it was very nice. But we have friends in Harish. It's a little more affordable there.
I haven't done Harish. We did Kiryat HaSharon. Were you on that call for Kiryat HaSharon?
No, I don't. No.
But there's another, I think that Harish and Kiryat HaSharon are very similar communities.
That might be a little bit too far north.
Yeah, and they didn't, there was not much view, not a lot.
My wife wants a view. So that's what.
But Neve Daniel or Elazar, I think you found the place.
Right. And that's what we're kind of liking what we're hearing. So we might like to see it firsthand. And but we've got your information. Maybe we'll give you a call and see what we can.
Shoshana will go and do a little video for you. She'll walk around and show you all the stuff.
Yeah,
Don't
we
worry.
can-
And I'll send. And I'll
If we
send.
need a time, I could walk around with my phone. I'm serious. And
Charles, I've got the most fantastic taxi driver. His name's Rafi, and it will be on my cheshbon, my account. I will pick you up and take you to your home. You're going to remember this, okay? It will be my present to you for when you land in Israel. Remember that, okay? Kim Dash is giving you a free taxi drive from the airport when you arrive in Israel.
Thank you very much.
But you got to. But the deal is you got to do it within the next 12 months.
Well, that's what you'd like to.
Good. No, I'm serious. It'll be my pleasure.
Rabbi doesn't want to get rid of us yet, though. But
Where do you live? Where do you live?
Bring him too. Bring the rabbi too. Tell him the whole community has to
we've been
come.
trying, but he probably going to be the last one to ever leave because
Where do you live?
we live in a very Israeli community in Houston, Texas, and probably
Oh, in Houston.
yeah.
Where?
In the Meyerland area, if you know Houston at all.
I do. When we first got married, we lived in Houston for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Before we even had kids.
Okay.
We lived in Rabbi Wender. We went to Young Israel. Mhm.
Yeah, we know Rabbi Wender.
And that's what told, I think it's good to be the Gush because especially coming from Texas, you know about land and you like big places, right? So you cannot come to Jerusalem where it's a matchbox, you can't do it. You're going to have to go to a place with lots of space.
Yeah,
So are you in the flood zone?
Other concrete buildings.
Are you in the flood zone?
Are you in the flood zone?
We're just outside the flood zone. Thank God we didn't get flooded. It went over the sidewalks in our neighborhood, but on the other side of the main streets, people lost their homes and had to rebuild. But Baruch Hashem, they're all okay. But and our house is okay, so we're hoping to get top dollar for our house because it didn't flood. But I'm retiring. My wife has a couple of years to go, but so we would like to retire in Israel. So that's the plan.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Good. It's a pleasure. Anyway, God bless everybody. Be safe.
Thank you.
And
You too.
Shana Tova. And thanks again for coming on. It will be available on our YouTube channel. And
please keep us. I don't know how we wound up. I don't know how we wound up on this. This was the first time.
Oh, really, Pauline? That's great.
So I don't know how we wound up on this, but if we could be included in future Zoom calls.
Can you send me, if you go onto Facebook, Kim Bash. Are you on Facebook?
I am.
Instagram, Kim Bash is looking at.
But my name on
But
Facebook.
we'll send you a follow-up email. If you're on the call, you'll get a follow-up email with the YouTube channel.
Perfect, because my name on Facebook is not the same as Pauline Jaffe. I don't, well, I can tell you why. On Facebook, it's Pam, and the reason is because if anybody saw me from work or whatever, that they shouldn't, it's one of those things.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Your secret is safe with us. Don't worry. We'll send you a message. We'll send you an email and a follow-up. We try and do it once every week. But next week is Hagim. Yes, hi, David.
I would love to say hello and say a little bit about my initiative, if that's all right. It's related to.
Pleasure. No problem.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Nice.
Bye.
So anyway, I was just wanted to introduce myself as, I started an initiative called Kochav Yisrael, which is now the Aliyah Network. The idea of the Aliyah Network is to be able to do what Kim's doing, but in many different categories, three-dimensionally, to be able to search for services as they relate to houses and real estate and communities and finding the people, to be able to talk about what it's like to move with a 9-year-old, any kind of connection. And thank God it's really gone to the point where we're starting to get some real traction. And the idea is that we're going to be seeing a tremendous wave, as everybody's saying. We're going to prepare for that. And it's my, I'm really excited because what's happening is God's doing this. Kim, everybody knows this. And we're about to just step into his line. And the bracha will come from that. And when we feel that love from God, right? And we're able to do this together. So then the wealth and all the jobs and all the houses and all that, we're going to work it out. But the equation is going to change dramatically. That's my opinion. And we should be able to see this in our day.
Amen.
And listen, we should all come together and really see the true path. We'll do the philosophical talking later. We'll wait for the good to happen, and then we'll look backwards and say, okay, what were the ideas attached to the idea? And there'll be no machlokas.
That's a big one. Amen.
Thank you,
you
David.
so much.
Yeah.
I wanted, I just wanted to sign out. I just wanted to thank you, Kim, and tell you it's been a real pleasure discussing and planning for this, mainly just because of your passion, and I think everyone could see your heart is really in this. So thank you for taking the initiative.
Pleasure. I really do. I really want people to come. I see it so clearly, and I really want people to know that there's something for everybody. And I think that's the beauty of living in Israel, is that it really is a melting pot of of everybody. So I'm excited. And Shoshana, really, you're a darling. Thank you so much. And thanks for reaching out to me many, many months ago. We finally pulled it together.
Kim,
I
have a question.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Have you done any of these for Zichron Yaakov?
We're going to be doing Zikron as well. We're going to be doing Zikron. Zikron's coming on. We've got a whole list. I don't always put it up because sometimes it's hard to coordinate, and I need an amazing person like Shoshana to help me. But we're doing Zikron Yaakov, Caesarea, Herzliya, Ashkelon. We're doing across the country. We're going for it. So you just have to hold on tight, and we always post it on Facebook. I could do seriously every day I could do a different community. There's so many but also one of the most important things for me is that I have affordable housing opportunities for people. So if an area does not have that, then I'd rather do one-on-one with people over the phone, and we talk about what areas are available. Because otherwise, to do a whole call just on one area, and I don't have a lot of houses or opportunities for people, it doesn't really make sense to do that. So a lot of people coming with children want to know about education and good schooling, transportation, easy access, job availability. So, but I'm happy. Zikron is on the list. It's one of the a lot of people want about Zikron and Caesarea. Actually,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Fagi, please reach out to me one-on-one if you want to have a chat.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Appreciate that.
Okay. Laila Tov, everybody. Signing
Thanks for
off.
coming.
See you next year. Good night.
Bye.